So it was about a year or two later, porno started to kind of rumble up, and me and Perry talked about the new sound of porno can never be what Jane's was. We didn't want to try to replicate Jane's Addiction. So we found a guitar player that was more of a songwriter, not a shredder. His name was Pete. We found a bass player, Martine, who was from Holland. He didn't grow up with Sabbath and Zeppelin and Maiden like me. So all of a sudden, my rhythm section partner was coming from a whole other spot, Holland and Dutch pop music. And that's what he listened to growing up. So all of a sudden, I've got this new partner in crime, and we worked for about 2 or 3 months making the first porno record. And I took all my cymbals off. I added bongos, a timpani, a timbali, and I wanted to actually embrace a world beat drum set. And me and Perry talked about how the segues don't have to be a bass line or a guitar part. They can be drum fills and drum cues. And when I listen back to the porno record, it's some of my favorite drumming as far as how I put together a drum part with different sounds. There's a song called Porno for Pyros. A lot of the music was written during the riots in LA, so a lot of the lyrics are about that time. But the beats were quite busy. Over and over with bongos and timbales. So it was like just tom-toms. So I had a real melodic drum sound. And I made sure I told the engineer, I want to mic the noise. Put 2 mics above me and 1 in the kick. I don't want a mic on every drum. I want the drum set to sound like a set. I was having this conversation with the great producer, Eddie Kramer, from Jimi Hendrix and Zeppelin. He said back then they had 2 or 3 mics on the drum set. Nowadays they have 2 or 3 mics on a bass drum, 2 or 3 mics on a snare drum. Just because an engineer can micro-tune and fine-tune doesn't mean, just because he could doesn't mean he should. But it's all there. You know, nowadays everyone's going to Pro Tools and they look at your drum part instead of listening. Oh, you're off right there. Close your eyes. How's it feel? I'm a person. I speed up on the verses. I pull back on the verses. I speed up on the choruses. And I've learned as a kid, you were afraid of the click track. Now I know the click track is just a cowbell player in the band. He's not fun. When I play with a click in the studio, not everybody in the band hears it, but me, really. So I don't have to be on the click the whole time. I know on the verses I drag. So there's the click, I'm right behind it. I know on the choruses I push. And I'm ahead of the click. I know the click is there. It's training wheels. It doesn't get away from me. I don't want to go from 180 beats a minute to 190 by the end of the tune. I just want to play with the feel for each part. And the click will allow you to do that. It's great to be right on the click, and that's part of it, especially if they're quantizing and laying tracks, and you're using, you know, people are cutting 2 weeks after you cut your drum tracks, they're going to comp the drum track. I understand. They think they can fix it, but to me it's not broken. It's a body, it's a person playing. A conductor could do Beethoven's Fifth in 10 minutes, but another one will do it in 11. What's the difference? It's the conductor. So if the symphony was to a click, it'd be terrible. Unless you're making a movie soundtrack. You gotta cut to the scene. The conductor is like a drummer. Now they've taken that power away from the drummer a lot in the studio because they think they can fix you. And you know, as long as I go to bed happy and I don't care what they do my drums, I've come to that point now. I did my performance. You guys can manipulate it if you like. But as long as I let something there that I love. So porno, back to porno. Porno got real busy on the first record, and we made our second record, and the work ethic started to dissolve a little. That's work. And our bass player, Martine, quit. So we had Flea join up, bass player for Love and Rockets, David J, Mike Rock from the Minutemen. All these guys started helping Porno record. And as Porno started to tour, Mike Watt took over as our bass player. And Mike's one of my heroes, the godfather of LA Punk. And he and I were so hungry to play more because Porno wasn't playing enough that we started another band called Vanya. We didn't have any singing because we wanted to somewhat overplay. It wasn't fusion, but for me, if there's a singer, you gotta listen. If there's no singer, we can play more. So Mike Watt brought Money Martin, who's the great keyboardist from the Beastie Boys, and Nels Klein, the guitar player who's in the Wilco now. Now Money Mark, you might recognize as an organ from the beginning of What You Want. That's Money Mark. It's just nasty. And And Nels Cline is an amazing guitar player that uses spoons and knives and pedals. And so it was an exploration band. And we made 3 records as a band. The second record, Watt and Nels got busy, so we had Flea, Frusciante, Buckethead, and Rob Wasserman just passed away last month, our bass player. Rob was part of the session. The alumni of Banyan turned into about 50 different players. Steve Kimmock, Tony Franklin, Fahid Hawk, fantastic musicians. And all these guys add something to the band. It wasn't a jam band, but we were jamming. And I was able to find a new way to express myself because there wasn't any lyrics. There wasn't a topic I had to stick to. So I was able to, in a sense, overplay. And Banyan for me was a great way to grow as a drummer and be surrounded by new musicians. Like I said earlier, tennis player, you need people to play with. So I found new cats to play with. So Banyan really helped me grow into a new direction of, I guess, listening. Now, Porno and Banyan was pretty busy, and then our guitar player for Porno, Pete, got sick. So Navarro helped out. And then Flea joined. So Porno Pyro was me and Navarro and Perry. So we decided let's just do Jane's Addiction. That was 1997, Flea release. And which was really exciting. We did about 40 shows, but it was called the Relapse Tour for a reason. It wasn't the healthiest thing, but we got through it. And at the end of that, I was so hungry, and I heard Tommy Lee was looking for a drummer. It was a mayhem. Call T. And your name. And that's when I go back, when I pull my floor tom out and put Tommy's hi-hat right there. And me and Tommy played for a year together. And that changed me completely. And he also sang and played guitar, so he's never had a drum before. So all of a sudden, I'm Tommy's drummer, and that's a great responsibility. The guy that knows how to feel pockets, you're playing his pocket behind him. And not only was the rehearsals and the shows great, the scene was great. At rehearsals, Roll and Taylor and Tommy Aldridge and Carline and Vinny Appici and all these cats would show up and find out what's going on. It was a drum hand. And that was good for my playing. And that brought back that competitive spirit from high school. Surrounded by drummers, wanting to be stepping out and show what you got. Same thing with these big festivals. If there's 50 bands over the weekend, you can bet the bands are playing more competitive and better than they are just at the club. When I'm on stage and I see all those drummers around me, I play different. And it's good, it's healthy. You know? That's the thing about the drum community, unlike any other instrument. We're athletes. I don't have to love the music, but I love what he does with his bass drums. So I'm into that guy. You know, I can follow a drummer, I don't have to follow the band. And there's battles, drum offs, drum circles, drum get-togethers, you know, and it's all, it's the drum community, I think, raises the scene more than any other instrument, you know. It's a gathering, and people like to talk about it and show off and show each other. I've done 10 drum offs for the Guitar Center, 5 I've played and 5 I've emceed. And I've noticed, not only are those regionals for the 6 months prior to the drum off, everyone's playing and practicing and trying their best, so the whole nation's getting better as a drummer. Then you got the 5 professionals playing that night, and they see all these amateurs doing things they never thought of, so those pros have new ideas the next day. And even the pros practice, because they got something, the drum off's coming next month. I gotta get my stuff together. So those kind of competitions and get-togethers make everybody a better player. And they get people to concentrate on their art. And that's what it's about. I still have a romance with my drumsticks and my pedals. I don't wear socks or shoes. I don't wear gloves. I want to feel a stick, and I want to feel a pedal, and I want to play, just like I did when I was 8 or 9. You know, when Jane's Addiction got signed, Warner Brothers said, you go make a record, and we'll push it. William Morris said, you go on tour, we'll tell the world. Our publishing, BMI, said, you write a song, and we'll place it. Nowadays, it's all gone. You got to do it yourself. It's all self-promotion. You got to find out what to do with your music and your art. So you have less time to work on it. Back then, Warner Brothers said, go into a room and just work on your music. Every bus stop had our album cover. Every Tower Records, every Virgin Records had our album on the wall. You didn't have to know the music, you saw the artwork, you saw the name. They wanted to push us. So that gave me, as a musician, a chance to work. I never had a job. I was a shoe repairman in high school for about 6 months. Didn't like it. And I've been playing drums since I was 17. Warner Brothers small amount of money, but I lived on it. And then we worked for it. We got more. We spent it. And we got more. We spent it. But we got to play. I always thought Jane's Addiction was the band that could say, you can quit your job and make art. Can't get rich, but you can make music. And that's what we wanted to do. So with the Tommy Lee days, that was just such a great experience. But Tommy was starting to get busy, and me and Perry and Navarro started talking again. We wanted to make a new Jane's record. Chris Chaney was the bass player for Tommy Lee. I met Chris years earlier because he was in Alanis Morissette with Taylor, and Alanis and Porno did a lot of shows. So I knew they were a great rhythm section. We did some after night hanging together as well, which was nice. But so when we started making our new record, I called on the great Chris Chaney. And we had Bob Ezrin producing us. Now Bob produced The Wall, like me before. He produced some of the greatest rock records, like Kiss and Alice Cooper, and the list goes on. So he knew that Jane's Addiction wasn't in the rehearsal room writing songs. We didn't have any songs. We had an urge to play together. So he put us in a studio called A&M, which is now called Ensign, one of the greatest studios in LA. And he booked it for a year. And it's not cheap. But he knew if he can get us together day after day, he can produce Jane's Addiction. And to produce Jane's Addiction doesn't mean everybody show up at 4 or try a song. It means read people. You like to be here at noon and you want your lunch ready. You want to get here at 4 and you want your coffee. You want to get here at 7 and you want the candles lit. You know how to set the scene. Not only will you sit at a piano and show us cool chords and ideas, and pick out the best microphones and mic placement, get the best engineer in the business, you know how to produce the vibe. So he helped Jane's Addiction with Strays, and I think without him, we never would have. And so I always think a great producer knows how to capture the noise, but also produce people, and get them. A great producer makes you feel safe, and makes you realize your potential and helps you get there. And I think that's what happens when you're surrounded by great players. You still search.